Hey there guys, some of you all know me as Night Hunter on the forums, mostly Shocker owners and TechTV, a few others as well. I'm going to do a video today about the SFT Shocker. You're probably wondering why I'm doing a video on that. I've had a few requests, and because since Smart Parts has been out of business, you can buy a Shocker ridiculously cheap. They used to run about $600. Now you can get one like this for easily under $200. I got mine for about $180, and you could probably pick one up for $150 if you really looked. You can get a Shocker with an insane amount of upgrades for a really good price. So there's not much that will really beat a Shocker for $200. There really isn't. An NXT Shocker would go about $250, and a private label would go in excess of $300 probably. But a regular SFT like this one, $200 easy. Here's just some things to know about Shockers. Obviously, there are two models, as I already said, the NXT and the SFT. Most of their parts are interchangeable between the two models, but there are a few differences, and I'm going to point them out here. One big difference is the eyes. The SFT has a single reflective eye. That's nothing to worry about. The reflectives I've had have all worked just fine, but it's just a little bit more odd, a little bit more rare. They work just great, but whatever. The NXT has, instead of a reflective, it has the more traditional brake beam eyes, which those also work great. Either way, you're going to have a pretty good working gun. The barrel threading is different between the two as well. The SFT has its own special barrel threads, and the NXT has a more standardized ion barrel thread, which will fit on more guns. The feed neck threading is also different. I don't understand why, but the NXT feed neck is different from the SFT feed neck. This feed neck on the SFT is a regular ion feed neck, or is compatible with regular ion feed necks, and the NXT has its own weird feed neck. Also, there's a little bit of a weight difference. You hardly notice it though. The SFT, I think, is a tad bit lighter of the two. A little bit of what to expect if you get a Shocker. Shockers are very smooth, very quiet shooters. I can barely feel it shooting. They have practically no kick at all. And I've had people tell me that they can hardly hear me when I'm shooting at them from only a short distance away. So that's great for me because loud guns are a huge turnoff, and I am not very much of a fan. Now, also though, Shockers are not very efficient. They're notorious for being a bit of a gas hog. I know I get 4, maybe 5 pods off of my 45-45 before I have to go in for more air, and that seems to be about the general standard for Shocker efficiency. Here's a little bit of what you should look for when you get ready to buy your Shocker. Smart Parts did not really do a great job of putting good parts on their Shockers. They shoot great, but they didn't really come with the greatest stock parts. The first thing I have to have, I won't even consider buying a Shocker without it. In my opinion, it's the most essential part of any Shocker that you're about to buy, is the feed neck. The standard Shocker feed neck was a stovepipe, which meant that it only fitted a few loaders. Some of the view loader products would fit, but most of the other loader brands would not fit in there. I know a rotor probably won't fit, and Halos definitely won't fit because they're pretty fat as far as feed necks go. Um, so make sure it has a clamping feed neck. Also make sure that you have an aftermarket ASA. My gun has a CP ASA which works great. The standard shocker ASA, which was an on-off, I have one right here, is garbage. Yes, it's an on-off, but it's not a very good one. It does not purge when you decide to turn it off. Instead, it keeps all the air inside of the gun, which is good for 5 or 6 shots, which can be dangerous. And it also vents air back at you when you decide to take the tank off. So, if it's at all possible, get rid of this thing, don't use it, throw it away, and the whole world will be better. The next thing you should look for as an upgrade is the board. This isn't super essential, but it's nice to have. An aftermarket board will make it where your gun is tournament ready. Smart Parts did not make adjustable boards for their guns, at least not until very late in production. Most shockers will come with either a semi-automatic only board or a board that has some very basic ramping modes, which are not tournament compatible, and if you have to play somewhere where you have limited rate of fire, you are going to be in trouble because you can't limit the rate of fire on a standard shocker board. Another thing that I look for is an aftermarket bolt. It's not a big deal. Most of my shockers actually have the standard bolts in them, but an aftermarket bolt will boost your efficiency just a little bit. It still won't be fantastic, but it's better than nothing. Another thing that I look for is an aftermarket trigger. I have a New Designs trigger on mine, and the standard Smart Parts trigger works okay, but it's kind of a turn-off. Doesn't feel good. I don't like it. Also, a lot of people like to upgrade the reg. The standard SFT reg seems to work okay, but this one just came with the gun, so I was happy. It's an added bonus. Also, though, one big thing you need to do if you're getting ready to buy a shocker is to make sure everything works. Here's some things that had better work with the shocker. Obviously, the gun in general should work. They're not known for breaking, but shockers have been around for a while and had time for stupid people to mess them up. So just go over them pretty carefully. See if you can get a shooting video or buy from a very reputable seller who knows their stuff. If you can, test shoot it if you're buying it locally. Just, use caution when you're buying any gun, especially used. Make sure that the eyes work. It's kind of annoying to have to replace your eyes because, you get them, you're going to break a lot more paint if your gun is shooting blind. Also, one big thing to make sure that works is the upper board in shockers. The upper board is sitting right in here next to the solenoid, and it is what holds the on-off switch. And when you push this button, you're actually pushing a button. You're pushing a button on the upper board, which, if it's broken, you are in trouble because the upper board is a real pain to replace. I've had to replace 3 of them, and they're not fun. Lastly, make sure the solenoid works. Make sure it holds air and doesn't leak. Make sure the gun in general doesn't leak. Shockers aren't known for breaking again, but just be careful. But shockers are great guns. If you look around, you can find a great deal on one. They're a whole lot of bang for your buck. So if you can find a good deal on a shocker, don't be discouraged because of their age. They still shoot great, and I love taking mine to the field. I use them almost every time I play. So if you're looking for a shocker, just look for what I told you to, and hopefully I'll have another video up soon. In the meantime, take care.